Hello YouTube, Infinite Magicraid community, Gandalf here. Super excited to see the next spoiler drop for Glory Battle. This was teased a while ago. Everybody was looking forward towards this new guild versus guild content. I referred to it several times in my video, so we're finally here with the next update on this. Early in the morning, before this was actually posted, I had a lot of my questions asked to Doris, and I was really appreciative of the fact that she took the time to answer a lot of the questions, which will help me prepare the video and explain a little bit more into what this content looked like. Again, key thing to note that what's key is this content, as like any other content in this game, they will always optimize the experience based on player feedback. And that's also the reason why I'm doing this video, is so that based on what you hear today, please write down in the comments below. They will be reading the comments in this video to take in your feedback on how to optimize this gameplay a little bit better for everyone. So with that said, let's get right into the content. Really, there are, three key phases to the battle. One is your registration, and then you have a manual battle at the beginning, first 20 hours within the day, and then the last 4 hours will be auto battle to determine the top winner. And this repeats over a period of perhaps a week or so, and then the accumulated total number of scores will be used towards ranking and giving out the rewards. So let's first get into the concept of registration. What's really cool about this is it's no longer registration as an entire guild. It's registration based on teams within the guild. You can form up to 7 teams. If you have a full guild of 30 people, each team can be either 4 or 5, but you need at least 4 people to participate, and you shouldn't have no more than 5 people on a team. When you're registering, basically the first person in will be the team leader, and then they have the ability to disband the team. Other people, as they join, they can either take a leader spot or join an existing team. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more administrative mechanics that needs to be added here. We'll see if others feel the same way as they provide the feedback, because I feel like the team captain may have an important role to play, because you want to make sure that is the strongest person on your team, because if we ever get into a tiebreaker situation, it is their team that's used for the lineup in the battle. Also, if we don't have some way of limiting the number of teams that the guild can register, people can accidentally end up with like 3-3-3, and then nobody ends up entering the battle. So there should be either a cap of maximum number of team you can set up in your guild, or the guild master can maybe go in there, disband a team, or move people who have signed up into another team. Hopefully they build in some mechanic like that. So that's just registration. After you go into registration, you're getting ready for battle, and this is what it looks like. Is in the registration, you're required to submit 3 different teams. So very similar to guild versus guild today. You need to put in 3 teams, but the order of those 3 teams really matter, because each one of them gets sent into each of the battlefields. So battlefield 1 will be your first team that you submit, the second one's for the second battlefield, the third one's for your third battlefield. Immediately, this means that we really should be considerate of your team strategy. You don't want to set up your lineup across your team of 4 or 5 to be of the same type, right? If they're all speed cleave teams, or if they're all control teams, they're all going to be weak to the same opponents, so you'll have a hard time scoring. So you really have to be careful in your team setup as you're entering for your team of 5 players. You have to make sure that they are spreading their teams across the 3 different battlefields in different ways, so you have a full coverage, which then gets to the interesting part about battling. And here's a really good clip explaining how the battling aspect will look. So each day you actually have to go into each of the 3 battlefields to complete them. Once you're in the battlefield, you notice there's a few opponents in front of you that you can challenge within your zone. All right, so you'll be randomly assigned the opponents. So you can see there will be a total of, depending on how many people are set up here, you could be facing anywhere between I think 16 to 20 or 20 to 25 battles collectively across your 5 different partners. And if you can beat them, great. If you can't beat them, you can actually move them to the center area. So in the center area is, you can go back and still challenge that person if you don't make up your mind. But other people that are fighting the other opponents in the same battlefield. The green one represents your teammate, and here's all the other random people. This is just purely animation. It's not like they're really battling it out. But they have the opportunity to send their opponents into the center for you to fight, but you can't actually go into their little zone to fight them. So what this means is, yeah, you do need full participation from the rest of your team members. If one of your team member forgets to log in, well, that's kind of rough because all of a sudden they kind of forego all the opportunity to score points on those opponents, right? So participation is important. Team strategizing is important. So, for example, in theory, right? Let's say, Klee is on my team, and I can't wait to get Klee on my team because he's just going to clobber everyone. Everyone on this team, when they log in, if they're not sure, they can put all of their opponents into the middle for Klee to fight. So this applies also in the early game guilds too, right? Like say you have a big Kraken. So I'm so proud of the fact that we have a massive whale in One's Wizard. I pass Butter, and he can clobber literally anybody. He's won championship every single time since he started the game. And he you can basically be on a team with him, and he pass all of your enemies into the middle, and he can just clobber all of them. So he can essentially carry a team 4 to 5. And I don't know how people will feel about mechanics like that. I think early game when you have big Krakens and whales, yes, that might be a thing. But what ends up happening is one person might not be sufficient. You need probably 3 Krakens on this team because you need to have them send in one person put in the ultimate lineup for the first one for the second battlefield, and 3 for the last one. So if you have 3 Krakens on your team, in theory you can carry a 4th or 5th person. You can't expect a Kraken to carry all 3 because simply there isn't enough heroes for those lineups. And right now, we all know the most broken lineups have Wukong, Muronjing, and Eroto in it, and you can only deploy them once, right? So that's the other part. Is I think that's the kind of anti Kraken measure because at least comparatively these players will have other options. So yeah, that is how the battle will actually look like. The first part of the battle will be 20 you have 20 hours to do this, so it will be the manual battle. And I specifically provided feedback here saying that when it says requiring manual operation, please put in the skip button. We don't want a repeat of the launch of Broken Lands where we had to manually battle these and there was no skip button. It took 30 to 40 minutes to complete 10 towers at least, and especially because we couldn't even set up auto battle on that. Man, that took forever. Like, we have a lot of Murong and Wukong teams right now. In the higher end, maybe this only applies to a small group of players, but what I can say is when you have Murong and Eroto and Wukong and maybe Lydia and a couple other heavy tanking heroes, these battles easily go between 50 to 200 turns. And if we're talking about higher end, those older Kraken guilds matching up against each other, some of these battles are going to go real long, and it'd be super disengaging if this content takes like 30 minutes to complete. Ideally, let's try to keep it to 10 minutes for new content that's rolled out. Ideally, and of course, manual operation is important. People can go in and have the choice of manually battling everything out because you only have one life, so it's really important to have the opportunity to manual. But please, for the people who want to risk it and click skip, let them skip. That's just my thought. Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Right, this is all about feedback. So let me know what your thoughts are as you listen through some of this. So basically, another key aspect of this is around matchmaking, right? So there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of guilds. Every day, 6 teams will be grouped together to match. There needs to be a really good ELO and matchmaking system, and I already provided this feedback to Doris. What I heard back was that they're going to do every effort they can, but they can't promise. They're going to work on this matchmaking system so that at least you're not fighting teams from the same guild, for one, because that will be kind of not fair, and also not kind of miss the point a little bit to be fighting your own teams of your own guild from the same guild. The other part I would say is they will make sure that teams are matched relatively close together based on their strengths. So think about having a matchmaking ranking or a hidden elo of some sort, so that we don't end up with like a brand new guild facing up with Mystic Bulls or something like that. That would be a very unenjoyable experience. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I think although this is cross server, they will try to balance the team matchup a little bit, and then as teams win, of course, I think their elo and MMR will go up overall over a span of 7 days of battles. The top teams, the strongest guild, will naturally still emerge to the top. So from that perspective, I think we're still safe. And this will work really well. Giving people reasonable opponents to fight every single day is really important. And that kind of wrap up all the key aspect of how this works. Intuitively, it is pretty simple. Originally, we got a really long note about this, and as you know, the devs like to write essays, and I like to make long videos. But I think with all the visuals and now a really short clip on how this actually plays out, it's relatively simple. Another part of feedback is how do we balance all the new content? I know it's covered recently other content creators videos, and people have talked about the amount of content we get in the game in the past year, and we want to see if there's sufficient time for people to finish the content. And this was also revealed in recent player surveys they have done. So what they will do is they will definitely try to balance this content so that it kind of rotates better between other PvP content, so that we're not overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we have to do every single day. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this note. Highly encourage you to go to the main Discord to take a look at this yourself. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please leave it in this comment below. I'll make sure it all gets passed over to them, and together as a community, let's make this new content a successful launch and give them all the feedback we need so that we get really enjoyable content upon launch. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Gandalf out.